Hey there YouTube, welcome to Big Mike Beard Wisdom. So, it's about time for some tires. So as you can see, these front tires about wore out. So this is a wear bar, normally they're about 230 seconds. And then if you measure in the center of the tire, which normally has a little bit more wear than the rest, looks like this is just a little bit under 330 seconds. So really close to 2. Whereas on this edge piece here, it's closer to 430 seconds. So you can kind of see where tires wear a little irregular. So if someone says, hey, your tire measures this, but you come walking up to it and you're like, I see plenty of tread, you need to look all the way across your tread. Another thing too is that if you look, like this wear bar here is almost even, while that wear bar there has a little bit more space. So more than likely there's like a heavy spot somewhere around here, which causes the tire to kind of slap a little bit. It's at 3, maybe just short of 2. Now the big thing with whenever you're looking at tires is that you need to get your tire size. So whenever you look at a tire, if you're not 100% familiar with what you should be looking at, there's a couple easy places to cheat that are not on the tire. Your owner's manual may have the proper size, but if your vehicle had different wheel and tire packages available, it may not have the right tire for your vehicle. But one of the best places to look is essentially either on the body, or some vehicles have it on the door. But most vehicles built, you know, in the newer age should have this tire and loading information. So it should have your original tire size and your speed rating on it. So in this case, 225/45 R17 H speed rated, and then tire pressure filled to 35 psi. Sometimes this is colored this way, sometimes it's colored differently. So on the Escalade, it's here on the door body, so on the body itself, but it's likewise here on the door as well. Sometimes that wears off, or there was body work, or someone painted over it or something like that, so it can get a little bit weird. So what I'd recommend is taking a picture of your tire with as much detail as possible. So like this one, you see Firestone across the top, and you see a set of numbers. So this is your tire size, 225/45 R17. Someone put a little bit faster speed rating tire, so they put a V on it, and M&S means mud and snow rated. But you can also take pictures of the whole thing, so whether or not you really care about this tread wear, traction, or temperature, we'll talk about that in a little bit, just because this can matter on the life of your tire and whether or not you want to go with it. Then the DOT numbers aren't super important. It basically just says that this is a Firestone tire, probably a Firehawk, and then built the 31st week of 2017. You can see down here it says Firehawk AS, which might mean all season. And then over here it says outside, which basically means that for this particular tire, it's designed to have this side facing out. And by doing that, it allows the tire to be ran the way it's designed to be ran. So if you ever see inside facing you, it means that someone installed your tire backward. But essentially, if you can either get a bunch of good pictures of your tire in as complete a fashion as possible, or a video similar to this one here where maybe just look up and down it, that allows the person at the tire counter to see what you have, then they should be able to give you a good recommendation. So tread wear, traction, and temperature, this is actually kind of complicated, and we'll get into another video about this regarding why you want to look at those numbers and what they mean exactly. Now, with the Astra, this is a really good example of the previous owner not taking really good care of the car, because those rear tires have quite a lot of tread left on them. The rear tires are roughly looks like 7/32 on the outside and about 7/32 on the inside. So those are probably about half wore. These, being that about 2/32 are super wore out. So what more than likely happened was that these were installed and that's where these stayed. So instead of rotating the tires, and by how the car shakes, especially in the front, I guarantee they never balanced them either. So it's going to be one of those things where once you do get a set of tires, you really want to be sure that you do a good rotate every so often and do a good balance. The old rotation schedule used to be about every other oil change, which would be about 6,000 miles. But your owner's manual will kind of tell you when you should be rotating it. I like going places where if you buy the tires from them, you get like a free tire rotate and balance. So essentially, you head there whenever you feel like it and get your tires rotated and balanced. Keeping your tires in balance helps with situations where you get a little bit of a heavy spot wore out, because as you can imagine, 5/32 of tire is off of this tire compared to that one. So roughly that much tire tread depth has been wore away. You've had that much mass come off your tire. I guarantee any previous heavy or light spots that you have in your wheel and tire combination has now changed. So whenever you balance your tires, it's balancing your wheel assembly and your tire assembly. So your wheel can have heavy and light spots. Normally where your valve stem is a heavy spot due to that little bit of metal being machined out for the valve stem, and then how big a valve stem is or how big a tire pressure sensor is compared to just that little tiny chunk of metal that you took out. So normally that'll be a heavy spot, so a lot of times they'll balance it by putting the heavy spot of your tire on the other side whenever they first mount it up. And a lot of manufacturers will actually have that as like a little paint dot. So you may see like a red or a yellow paint dot on the outside of the tire whenever you get a new set of tires. But I always recommend the old schedule, so about every 6,000 miles. If that means that your car gets 10,000, 12,000 miles in between oil changes or something crazy like that, balance it twice in that time. And especially if you go somewhere where they do it for free, why not? So that's pretty much everything you need to do before you go talk to this like a tire guy. The other thing might be to research tires just a little bit, but this should give you enough information that you can walk in there and say, hey, this is the tire that I need. That way they're not guessing at the tire, and the price can change drastically if they get the wrong size quoted to you. And there can even be problems where essentially someone doesn't catch there was a wrong tire size until the mechanic is trying to mount up the tire and something catastrophic happens. So if they try putting on a size too big, that tire can actually blow off the rim. Or you can get the young tech that's really trying so hard to put a 16-inch tire on a 17-inch rim and just can't figure it out until the older, wiser tech walks up and goes, what are you doing? So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to like and subscribe. I'll check you next time.